Hello everybody and welcome back to Red Eagle Politics. Make sure you guys like this video down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. So in this video, I was thinking that we would do a best case scenario prediction for 2024. It's been a while since we've last done a best case scenario for Donald Trump against Joe Biden in the 2024 presidential election that's going to be happening in pretty much 7 months from now. We are knocking on the door, and that we know. And Donald Trump currently maintains a lead in the polls nationally. He also leads in every single state that is considered competitive: Arizona, Nevada, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Georgia. All of the battlegrounds he is leading in. Some of them he's leading in by more than 5 points. And the question is, what is the best case scenario? And I think it would be that once again, the polls are underestimating him. Everything they've thrown at him has bounced off. He goes out there, he wins the popular vote by a couple of points, and he actually sweeps the board in swing states and possibly comes close to flipping a state or two, or even flips a state or two that nobody really thought was all that possible. And of course, you have the 3-way, 5-way polls. You have RFK Jr. in the mix. You have Cornel West, Jill Stein. These candidates will likely be taking more votes away from Biden than Donald Trump, kind of allowing him to have a 2016 repeat on steroids. So without further ado, I think it's important that we fill out the map. Now, every state that was safe in 2020 is going to be safe in this prediction for obvious reasons, and that we know. And that includes the states of Iowa and Ohio, as well as Maine's 2nd District, who will be entering the safe designation. So already out of the gate, Trump gets 149 electoral votes, and I think in a best case scenario, you would have to add the state of Texas and Florida, because these two could vote for Trump by more than 10 points. Would I have him winning both by 10 or more? Probably not, but the latest Marist poll out of Texas had him winning by up to 12. He's led some polling in Florida by over 10 points. I think he's going to win both by like 7 to 9 at the end of the day, but in a best case scenario, it's absolutely fair game to put these states in the safe Republican column. And that's true. Also, we could fill out some of these states that will never really be all that competitive. Even in a best case scenario, Washington's not going to be within 10. Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Maryland, D.C., Delaware, I think would be if Biden wasn't from Delaware, but still, Vermont obviously can be in this category. And you might be able to make the case for a state like Colorado, but this is the best case scenario. We will put Illinois in that designation, possibly, Maine's 1st District, Connecticut as well. But we'll kind of adjust some of these other states into the likely column as we go on. So as for likely Republican states, well, the state of Georgia, this is a state that I would not anticipate to be in this column at the end of the day, but you look at the polling and he's up by over 5. If you have a best case scenario, Trump sees suburban reversion, you see black voters, possibly the turnout drops and Trump gains a couple percentage points here and there, yeah, Georgia could very well go in the likely red column. Same thing with North Carolina. And that we know. I think that might be it, though, for the likely Republican states, likely Democrat states. You'd have possibly, I'll put Hawaii safe just to be sure. I think it'd still be a 10-point win for Biden, but Trump would crack 40% in the best case. I think that New Jersey and New York, very thin, states compared to how they usually vote. Arguably, you could make the case that like New Jersey and New York could be within 10 in a best case scenario. Colorado, Oregon, we'll probably keep that in the safe column though. So that's pretty much that. Then we get to go to the remainder of the states here and fill these out in a best case scenario. Now, Maine at large, I've seen several polls that have had Trump leading in Maine at large. If you have a best case scenario, it's possible he could narrowly pick off the state. And that might be a controversial take. I think he's more likely to win it than, Nebraska's 2nd District. He's more likely, arguably, to win it than New Hampshire, just because Maine, when it comes to voting, kind of has a mind of its own, and it's very hard to predict. But in the best case scenario, could Donald Trump pick off the state of Maine? I would believe that the answer is yes. So New Hampshire, on the other hand, I still think that this state is going to be a tough one to really get. They don't really like incumbents all that much, but still, the state, you saw how the primary went. You had a lot of people crossing over, a lot of TDS in the state of New Hampshire. I think it's going to be very close. In a best-case scenario, I think Trump just falls short, though. Up next, you have Virginia, which I think will be very competitive in a best-case scenario. For Donald Trump, I think it could be within 5. The popular governor of Virginia, Glenn Youngkin, has endorsed Donald Trump as well in the state of Virginia, but still, I don't believe it's enough. I think it'll turn a corner regardless. I don't think the state is ready to quite flip, but on the other hand, we could also put New Mexico in this column as well. It's a state that could be unpredictable. Depends how the white voters go in the state. Hispanic voters in the state have moved to the right, but it's been offset. If Trump makes up some ground with white voters and possibly, adds more Hispanics to his column, if the trends accelerate or continue, he could see the state be somewhat competitive, but still, I'd probably put that in Biden's column as of right now. So, up next, let's go to the state of Pennsylvania. This is a state that's been razor thin both election cycles. Obviously, Trump would win it in the best case scenario. Donald Trump got 48.8% in the 2020 election. I think with high third-party vote share, I think he could win it based off of that fact alone. It is true that Biden polls better in Pennsylvania than any swing state, but still Donald Trump wins it, and that's with a poll with questionable methodology with Susquehanna in the aggregate as well. I think we'll put Pennsylvania in the Republican column. In this scenario, I think Trump would win it. Also, the state of Michigan, this is another one. You talk about the fact that Donald Trump, he's really playing to those blue-collar workers, especially in the auto industry. He's up in the polls by 3.5%. Black voters disillusioned with Biden, and Arab voters, mainly Muslim voters in Dearborn, extremely disillusioned with Biden. It's true they're not a big portion of the population in the state, but still, could Trump win the state in the best-case scenario by a lean margin? Yes, because Biden's approval rating in these places, it's not really all that high. And Biden talking about, but the economy's not working in this part of the country, so it falls on deaf ears, just like it did during the Obama years, 2016, to a certain extent. Also, Wisconsin, polls underestimate Trump in Wisconsin usually by a lot. He still leads the aggregate by 0.8% right now. And the state, you got a lot of room to grow in the state, a lot of rural areas that could get a lot redder. Trump probably holds his own in the wow counties, mainly the 2 W's. Ozarky's a little bit of a different story, but still, we talk about the fact that there's a lot of room for growth in the state. I think that Donald Trump goes out there, I think in a best-case scenario, takes Wisconsin by a lean margin, and arguably picks off Minnesota as well. I think with the third-party vote share being high enough, you could see a massive swing. If there's any state that could surprise people, it's Minnesota. I would not bank on it if I was the Trump campaign. Maybe test the waters later on if you're really running up the score and it's September and October and you're the clear favorite. Do what Obama did with North Carolina, Indiana back in 2008. But still, we're a long ways away from that. But in a best-case scenario, yes, I do believe that Donald Trump picks off the state of Minnesota just because when there is a third-party vote share that's relatively high, like there was in 2016, Republicans can come close and possibly pick off the state as well under the right circumstances. Nebraska's 2nd district, even Don Bacon's losing in some of the polls we've seen. I think he pulls it out at the end of the day, but in a best-case scenario, this district is not exactly moving to the right. And the Nebraska legislature is kind of causing issues for Republicans just by not either making the state winner take all or redistricting Nebraska's 2nd to be more favorable to Republicans. So there's that. Now we go to Arizona. Polls in Arizona have Trump up by 5.2%. I don't know if I can see that happening. But still, I think in a best-case scenario, Trump could win it by close to his 2016 margin, especially if the third-party vote share is high enough. Trump's improving with Hispanics. Biden's hitting a wall with some of those McCain independents or whatever you want to call them in the Maricopa County area. I could see Donald Trump winning the state in a best-case scenario by a few points, though. I will say that. And Biden is struggling for sure in the state as of right now. Then we have the state of Nevada, where Trump leads in the polls by 3. I think that Trump can easily pick off Nevada, add it to his column in the lean margin. When it's all said and done, you want to look at the state of Nevada. What's his pathway? Just do a little bit better in Clark County. Republicans in the midterms did all right in Nevada, picked off a few statewide offices there. Wasn't a clean sweep. It wasn't perfect, but with Donald Trump energizing voters and the demographics he's likely to improve with, I think it can be done easily. So here you go. This is the best case scenario. Donald Trump gets 324 electoral votes. Joe Biden with 214. Donald Trump likely takes the popular vote by 2 to 3 points in this scenario. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching this video. Like this video down below, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications so you never miss another video. Follow me on social media. The links are all in the description down below. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Happy Easter. Red Eagle out.